Alright, for this last video for graphing secant and cosecant, now we're going to do both shifts. We're going to do a horizontal shift and we're going to do a vertical shift. Now if I look right away, since this is a plus, that means I'm going to put a left arrow, I'm going to move it to the left, I'm going to squeeze it in there. Then this is a plus and it's on the outside, so I'm going to move this up 3 units. So I'm moving it to the left and I'm moving it up 3. You can see I already took secant, I changed it to cosine. Now the first thing I notice right away, I always want to get the equilibrium first. Here's the equilibrium, right? It's the vertical shift, that's 3. Vertical shift always equals the equilibrium. So I'm going to put 3, that's the equilibrium. Now this is the amplitude, it's 2. So the max, I add 2 to the 3, so that's 5. I subtract 2 from the 3, so the minimum's 1. So these are the y values when I graph cosine. So since every key point that you get 3 is going to be a VA when you graph secant. Okay, period is, well, if it's just x, 2 pi over 1 is 2 pi. So I've done these over and over again. I'll just go right to the increments. This is 2 pi over 4, which reduces to pi over 2. Okay, the start. Remember the start, I take what's in parentheses. X plus pi over 3, I set it equal to 0. So when you solve for x, you just subtract pi over 3 from both sides. So it's negative pi over 3. That makes sense. I'm moving it to the left, so to the left of x equals 0. So we start at x equals negative pi over 3. Okay, then the end, well, I'm just going to erase what I just did. And now I just take x plus pi over 3, remember whatever's in the parentheses, and now I set it equal to 2 pi. So if I subtract pi over 3 from both sides, well, let's see here. 2 pi is the same as 6 pi over 3. So 6 pi over 3 minus pi over 3 gives me 5 pi over 3. So everything's shifted to the left. So x equals 5 pi over 3. Okay, key points. I know I start at negative pi over 3. Stinking fractions. We got to deal with the fractions. Let's see, your increments is pi over 2. So really this is what you're doing. Negative pi over 3 plus the increment of pi over 2. Make the common denominator 6, so this is negative 2 pi over 6 plus 3 pi over 6. Pi over 2 is the same as 3 pi over 6. So it looks like that's what I'm going to keep adding to get the next x value. So if I do negative 2 pi over 6 plus 3 pi over 6, that gives me pi over 6. Then I'm going to add this 3 pi over 6 to pi over 6. That's going to give me 4 pi over 6. And I write it underneath. That reduces to 2 pi over 3. Then if I add these two together, well, that gives me 7 pi over 6. Okay, I'm just going to erase some of this stuff out here. It's getting a little messy. Okay, I'm just going to keep adding 3 pi over 6. So then if I add 7 pi over 6 with this 3 pi over 6, that gives me 10 pi over 6. And lo and behold, that reduces to 5 pi over 3, which matches up with this right here, 5 pi over 3. Okay, that's the toughest part. I'm going to erase some things because it's a little messy. All right, and I'm just going to get the y values here. So I go back to this, the y values. Now since it's cosine, I start at the max. The amplitude here was positive 2, so I start at the max of 5. So it's going to be 5. Come back down to the equilibrium of 3. Go to the minimum of 1. Back up to the equilibrium of 3. And then I keep going up to the max of 5. So this is going to look like the U shape. So let's graph this. Move it up just a little bit. Okay. So we're here to the left a little bit. We'll say this is negative pi over 3. Let's see. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're at 5. Pi over 6, let's see here, we're right about here. We'll say this is pi over 6. That's at 3 right here. 2 pi over 3, we're at 1. That's the minimum. 7 pi over 6 is right here. We'll say we're at 3. And 5 pi over 3, we're back at where we started, which is the max. So we graph this. This is our U shape. That's our cosine curve. Then we just change it to secant. I'm going to put this in blue. At all the maxes, the parabola goes up. This parabola. Okay, this goes up. This minimum, the parabola, this goes down. Now the minimum is right here. These are the minimums. So this is where we get VAs. And that is our cosecant curve. All right. Yeah, and I'll just leave it at that. And that's it.